Welcome to Reddit Reads r/ProRevenge. Our first Reddit post is from Hearn. Cheating student thought he had me fooled. Fell right into my trap. So I am a cancer researcher and a guest professor at an university's School of Medicine, teaching my specialty imaging. Besides the usual acquisitions of medical images using MRI, court, etc. Imaging has a lot to do with image processing. Some days I am just a glorified programmer guy. And as anyone who has ever programmed anything will tell you, coding is a very personal activity. With enough experience, you can tell who wrote what just by looking at the lines. I am also in my late 20s, and I am not native to this country, and it's my first year as guest professor. So some students look at me as this inexperienced, gullible foreign guy. As part of my module's grading, the students have to submit 2 reports that weight 10 each of their final grade. These reports are about image processing, and they have to code a fair bit. As usual, there are students that make an effort, some do minimal work, and then some cheekapy. As I was grading the reports, I noticed a small group of students who found reports from previous years online and literally copy-paste those reports, changing only their name. It was a facepalm moment because those reports were not even good and had a lot of errors. You see, in order to establish a baseline for my grading, I browsed previous year's reports so I knew what to expect from the students of this module. Naturally, I graded them all with 0 and kept working my way through grading the reports I had left. Meanwhile, the students casually asked me in the halls how were the reports. Of course, I can't comment on that until I release the grades. One time, this dude, who has copied from another report 98 match on plagiarism checker, asks me when will I release the grades and comes with this story that he worked really hard on his reports, that his exam hasn't gone so well, and he is hoping that the grade on his reports are enough to get a pass. I mean, submitting another person's work as your own is very wrong, but it was an online submission and impersonal. Right now, he was just lying through his teeth and to my face. I could feel my blood boiling, but I didn't lost my composure and decide to come up with a plan. I knew that my exam was the last exam of the semester, and that after that the students usually go home or family vacations while they wait for their grades to be posted online. So I graded the exams and input their grades into my Excel with their report grades. 4 students had 0 due to cheating on their reports, and if I graded their reports with 50 of the max grade, they would barely fail the module. But they would fail nonetheless. So it was on. In order to be fair, I bumped everyone else's grades. A bunch of people with miserable reports ended up barely passing because of my grade bump. But even though their reports were bad, it was their own work and not copied from anywhere. You see, students are entitled to make an appointment to review their grades after publishing and before the grades are locked for the year. Basically, they sit with me, we go through their exam and reports, and their goal is to convince me to give them extra points in hope that they pass the module. I knew the cheaters would come. After all, they think they fooled me once already, and they still have half the report's points to bargain for. So I just waited for their emails. Lo and behold, they write me the same day the grades go online, saying how hard they have worked on their reports, and that they don't understand how they only got 50, and that they wanted an appointment. I was ecstatic. Sure, let's review your grades. Do you remember that my exam was the last one? Well, they were already on vacations, some very far away, and begged me for an online appointment. No can do. University policy. Moreover, you have 3 days to show for your appointment, otherwise the grades are locked, also university policy. So here they come, cutting their vacations short and catching planes. Some spent hours in buses and trains to make it on time. I know what many of you are thinking. They come, I show them the plagiarism checker results and reveal that I know that is not their work and send them on their way. Well, I considered it, but I had something better in mind. Those appointments usually take 10 min. I show them their work with my notes on what's wrong right, and they try to find some inconsistencies in my grading and bargain for more points. I ain't giving you the opportunity. Haha. So one by one they sit with me individually, and I go through their exam and reports. Remember that they copied the reports and copied bad ones, with a lot of errors. I ask questions, lots of them. Why did you do this? What is your reasoning for this? They don't know. It's know their work. They mumble random stuff because they don't know what to answer. Point by point, mistake by mistake, I explain why it was wrong, how it should be done, lecturing the same material that they had already been lectured on during class. I make it long, I make it boring, I make it painful. I spent hours with each one of them throughout those 3 days. They always came with the same, I worked so hard on this, and a little smirk on their face because they thought that it should be really easy to fool me, the gullible foreign, again. As the hours go by and I am walking through the errors one by one, I could see their expression change. Little by little, their hopes of passing being slowly crushed. And when they realized that I knew they cheated, and I wasn't going to give up any extra points. At this point, they tried to cut short their appointment and leave. I wouldn't let them. We need to finish the review of your grades, it's university policy. And I just kept going, extending their misery for 1 more hour or 2. It was legal torture, plain and simple. It was glorious. At the end, every single one of them left with a crushed soul look in their eyes and a fail in my class. They knew that I caught them, that I baited them, and they fell for it. They ruined their vacation and their family vacations, spent money to travel back and forth, and next year they will have to repeat the module with me. I hope you enjoy your summer. See you next year. Edit. This was a you, not us. It took the matter to my boss, who is their course director, and he told me to not report them because the university wants to avoid any kind of legal action at any cost. I couldn't even accuse them of cheating. Just some things I think I should have said. Oh, and loving the hate in some comments. Some are just name-calling, but other are very classy, although there are a few that are way too long to read. So I am sorry for that. Edito also, for those worried about my bump the grades thing. I made a judgment call to bump some grades of some student who had a good exam and their report grade was pulling them down. They clearly knew the topics and studied. Their report was just not very good. So I decided that given that if it wasn't for the report they would pass, to bump it a bit to allow them to pass. Most of them went from failing at 49 to passing at 50 on their overall final grade. This comment is from Nemetophonics. In my country, if you are caught copying something, you automatically fail, and you are banned from enrolling in any of the universities for the next 3 years. These students got off lightly. This comment is from Nive 3066. Damn, I know at my uni in us, if you are caught cheating, it's just an auto-fail for the class. Rarely teachers did that if it was just, but they would for tests. This comment is from Oda Cyan. It would feel so satisfying seeing their face when you say, I know you stole this work. Wanna know why? Because you fucking stole it from me. Now, a word from today's sponsor. Make sure to donate to my Patreon down in the description below to get early access to videos, participate in special patron-only events, and other goodies. Any amount of money is greatly appreciated. It makes it easier for me to make the content that I love making, and I know you guys love too. Now back to the video. Our next Reddit post is from Cyberchief. When trying to get your deposit back from your landlord is like drawing blood from a stone. TL Drive landlord makes living conditions shitty, so he offers me an opportunity to move out. I convince 2 others to move out as well. He ghosts me when I ask for my deposit, so I take him to court. I win $650, so he appeals the court's decision. In the appeal, my award is tripled to $1,800. He refuses to pay up, so I get the Los Angeles Sheriff's Department to go to his bank, freeze his account, and seize his money. Holy crap, this was much longer than I expected after typing it out. I've tried to shorten it as much as possible, but here it goes. Back in 2018, I had a temporary internship in California at insert large tech company, so I took a recommendation from a friend about a room for rent. It would be living with 5 other people, but otherwise it looked fantastic with spacious common areas, multiple huge tps, full amenities, community rec center, pool, short drive times to multiple places of interest, all for $650 a month, utilities included. I contacted the landlord, whom I will refer to as Shitlandlord. He seemed fine on the phone, so I sent him my security deposit to move in a month later. When it came time to move in, I discovered a few caveats that came with this low rent price. The common areas were all dusty. None of the 3 large tps worked properly. If we wanted access to the rec center and pool, we'd need to pay the ITIMO membership fee, and all of the short drives time estimates were exaggerated, unless you were speeding at twice the speed limit. Whatever, it's not the end of the world, especially at the relatively low price. We'll survive. But then it got worse in the coming months. Shitlandlord decided to charge us an extra $20 a month for paper towels and public cleaning supplies. Shitlandlord only checked the community mailbox once a week when he was in town and refused to trust anybody with the mailbox key. As it starts to roll into the summer, in June, Shitlandlord decided that AC costs too much and we were using too much, so he removed the thermostat from the wall. Oak. One day, some of us tenants confronted him when he was at the house, since Shitlandlord also slept at the house about 1 day a week, and I'll never forget his words as he rushed out of the house. "It's legal for me to do it, and I don't care since I don't have to live here." Well, sir, fuck you. I'm tilted as fuck at this guy's obvious money grab from 6 tenants. Well, it turns out he's right. He legally does need to provide air conditioning. So the next day, I purchase a high BTU freestanding portable air conditioner that exhausts out the window. Holy shit, this thing was luxury. Of course, I pump my room to 65. We have a couple other minor disagreements that wind up with Shitlandlord texting me that it's fine if I wanted to break my lease and move out early. Perfect. When Shitlandlord finally gets a whiff of my AC setup, he comes to my room to complain about my AC unit. I reply curtly, "It's legal for me to do it, and I don't care since I don't have to pay for electricity." He leaves and later sends me a text. Yay, Oak. Unbeknownst to Shitlandlord, I'm taking his MoVote offer seriously, and this whole time I've been rallying the troops. All the tenants have been upset about Ivrion's living situation, so with some minor encouragement, I managed to convince 2 of the other 6 tenants to move out at the same time as me. They were on a month-to-month arrangement. I finally submit all our notices of intent to vacate at the same time, barely a week after my previous conversation with Shitlandlord. Is pissed. He was just trying to get me out of the house, but now he has 3 rooms to fill instead of just 1. I ask about my legally mandated ProRevenge inspection. In no uncertain terms, he told me to go fuck myself. He said he's too busy to perform an inspection. Well, that's illegal, but Oak. Time comes to move out. I found another room for rent much closer to the office for only $100 more. We all move out, and I text Shitlandlord about my security deposit. No response. No response. I text again. I see where this is going. I spend days and days reading the law, compiling evidence screenshots, and listing the laws that were broken. The smoking gun was the statute that requires a ProRevenge inspection, and a list of things to fix, an itemized list of deductions within 21 days, or else Shitlandlord loses the right to withhold any of my deposit. In addition, he would be subject to treble damages if he's found to be acting in bad faith. I text again and again. I give him plenty of leniency, and I even cite the laws so I can prove in court that I'm acting in good faith, and Shitlandlord intentionally ignored the laws that I made him aware about. Schittelendlerd probably thinks him a young pushover college student who won't follow through with legal threats. Well, sir, we're going to court because I'm petty as fuck when it comes to people trying to fuck me over. I file in small claims for 650 plus treble damages plus court costs. Schittelendlerd files a counterclaim of 2,000 for damages to the property, claiming I caused flooding and I broke the microwave. Oak buddy. In response, I gather testimonies from 3 of the other tenants and I build my case into a 40-page packet of evidence, complete with page numbers, a table of contents, and descriptions for every screenshot and photo. I make 3 copies of everything and submit it to the court and the defendant Schittelendlerd. The court date is set for November, and I leave the state just before Christmas, so just in time to appear in person since my internship ends and I fly home in December. He starts filing to requests to postpone the trial. He cites a doctor's appointment and the motion is granted. Court date is rescheduled for a month later, in December, but still before I fly home. New court date approaches, and he files another request to postpone, citing another doctor's appointment. Somehow that motion is granted as well, and we're rescheduled yet again to January. Darn. January rolls around and surprise, surprise, guess who's got another doctor's appointment conveniently on the same exact day of the trial? Denied. The court finally got of his bullshit and denied the motion because he can't prove he scheduled the doctor's appointment prior to the court date being moved. Welp. I'm not in anymore. I'm across the country on the East Coast. Schittelendlerd thinks if I'm no longer in the state, hell automatically wins since I'm not willing to fly back to Cov. Well, unbeknownst to Schittelendlerd, California courts offer an option to appear by telephone. Haha. Court day comes and I get the call. I'm sworn in and then connected to the court. I'm given time to present my case. Unfortunately, I didn't prepare a script so I can summarize the events and explain why I deserve money. Then Schittelendlerd gets time to defend himself and explain his counterclaim. He doesn't prepare anything either, and he ends up rambling about random shit that doesn't help his case at all. For example, he spends a lot of time explaining how another one of the tenants was shitty, and so his behavior was justified. He doesn't even have a sliver of evidence for his counterclaim when the judge asks for it. The judge asks a few more questions and announces that he'll review the evidence and will get the decision in the mail. A couple weeks later, I get the judgment saying I'm owed 650. Schittelendlerd gets nothing. Well, damn, no treble damages for me. However, it's just my luck the Schittelendlerd is a piece of shit that won't accept defeat. He files an appeal for Wonoswit. It's granted. Redo trial is scheduled for May. This time Imtin's more prepared. Once again, I'm sworn in and then they connect me to the courtroom speaker. This time, I have a hashed-out script that I read, making sure to emphasize how often I informed Schittelendlerd of the law, how often Schittelendlerd knowingly broke the law, and how I offered so much leniency and so many opportunities to do the right thing. Once again, Schittelendlerd doesn't prepare anything, but instead rambles on so much that even the judge tells him to get back on track multiple times. Schittelendlerd claims I caused water damage and had to replace all the carpets. The judge asks for an invoice or receipt. He has none. Schittelendlerd claims I broke the microwave, so the judge reads him the 3 witness statements that all state I didn't break the microwave. Schittelendlerd says they're all lying. He still has no evidence whatsoever. At this point, the judge clearly sounds done with his shit and says well, get his decision in the mail, and the call ends. A couple weeks later, I get the judgment. I'm owed $1,800 and Schittelendlerd still gets nothing. Well, damn, would you look at that. His appeal did not quite work out for him. He goes from owing $650 to owing me $1,800. Being the shithead that he is, he files for a mistrial, claiming I was not sworn in and that I lied in my testimony. Denied. Outside of court, Landlord offers a payment plan of 20 months which will take 5 years to pay back, or otherwise he refuses to pay up. Okay, see how collecting my money is going to be. I figure out he banks at BOA by looking up the checks I gave him for rent and seeing where they got cashed. I file for a writ of execution that will allow me to perform a bank levy. It's granted, so I prepare a packet for the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department to go to BOA and take his money. LACSD serves him with papers and orders BOA to freeze his account. After his allotted time theatered to contest the seizure, LACSD seizes his money plus 10 APY interest. I finally get the glorious check in the mail 20 months after moving out. I'll probably frame it. Total $1893.91. Edit: for everyone telling me to cash the check, I already deposited the money into my bank account via mobile check depositing. Edit: small claims cases are cheap to file. You'll pay about $50 in most states, and it'll rarely be as high as $100. Plus, the loser has to pay you back when you win. Edit: 3 tips for situations like this. Find small claims guides. There's a plethora of helpful information out there because everybody wants you to win. Even the court wants you to win. At least in Cobb, they offer a free in-person small claims advisory clinic where employees advise you and walk you through the whole process. Make sure you know the process and what to expect. Document everything. Have conversations through text or email if possible for easy screenshots. Photograph everything even if you don't think it's important, because the landlord might just claim you damaged it. Do your research on the law. Know what is legal and illegal, and know the penalties for violations. Compile evidence against your landlord and cite the laws that they are breaking. The easier you make it for the judge to see that you are right, the more likely they'll side with you. Get supporting witness statements. It changes the case from HSHS where the landlord is calling you a liar to a Forvone where the landlord has to call everybody a liar. Just don't commit hearsay law. Have them appear in person or have them sign and submit a declaration. Follow procedures to the T. Last thing you want is for your evidence to be thrown out because you didn't send a copy to the defendant at least 10 days before the court date. Come to court prepared and remember the 7's proper planning and preparation prevent piss-poor performance. Judges like people who are on top of their shit. If you come to court unprepared thinking that you can just talk your way to a win, it will be dead obvious. Don't expect the process to be quick. It'll take a while for your landlord to get their comeuppance, but it'll be worth it. At the end of the day, the courts want you to win. It'll just take a while. This comment is from Wetafrestation. That was amazing. So well written and eloquent. But yeah, karma comes back tenfold, or in your piece of shit landlord's case. Way to go sticking it out. I hope he loses his other tenants too. Edit: wow. Thanks for the upvotes, much appreciated. This comment is from Cyberchief. Thanks. Writing was never my strong suit, so that's a very nice compliment. This comment is from Fizzlesout. Damn fine work. Can you recommend me some of your resources used to educate yourself? I seem to have a bit of trouble with a landlord bullying sums myself. I'm in Ka. That was Reddit Reads r/ProRevenge. If you like this content, please subscribe and click the bell icon so you are notified of new uploads. We upload new videos every day. Also subscribe to our Patreon, as that will help us a lot. See you next time.